Ben and the Bantam by Edwin Waugh, narrated by Malc Cowle. Chapter 5. Here we come a wassailing. Old Carol. There, said Ben, wiping his mouth and brushing the crumbs from his knees. I've had a rare good dinner, mistress, and I'm very much obliged to you. Oh, thou art welcome, lad, replied the landlady. Welcome as the flowers in May, sure thou art. What? We're no one within a bite of meat, mon? Not we. No, I know you're not, answered Ben, but you know, one can have a do like that every day out of besom making. We think and will, if we can get a bit of butcher's meat of a Sunday, but I guess it's a regular thing with such as you. Well, we go on naught short, in eating line, thank God for that, answered she. Well, but we killed a pig a Thursday, said the landlord. Wilt have a link or two of black pudding? I've naught again that I know of, answered Ben, but yon never had no swilling fro us, and I dare say you never win have. How'd thy din about swillings? Replied the landlord. It's neither here nor there. We'n swillings enough of our own. Tak some puddings home with thou. Come, I'll have him some up, said the landlady, walking towards the pantry. I care naught about 'em myself, said the landlord, turning round to look at somebody who was knocking in the lobby. It was a trimly dressed servant lass, who stood playing with a shilling in her hand. Well, Ellen, said the landlord, what is it? Han you any gill bottles of porter, James? No, replied the landlord, but we'n some pint bottles that doesn't house so much more, if that'll do. Oh, it'll do very well, answered the girl. I want 2 bottles for mistress, who thinks a drop of porter would agree with her, the best of aught tonight. How is thou, lass? Said the landlord, walking into the bar to get the porter. Oh, who's never eat, never, and I don't think she owes anything but concert, for she can eat and drink and talk well enough. Talk, you should hear her talk. I don't think who does ail much, lass, no but concert, as they says, and a concert's as ill as a consumption ony time. Does doctor attend her yet? The doctor, doctors and parsons, it's all that keeps her alive. You should have heard her talking to the doctor this morning. She was telling him what sort of a night she'd had. I heard every word. I was sweeping lobby out at time. Doctor, she said, I never was nearer me end than I was last night. I dreamt I was getting to Thedger Jordan, and I was going to cross over, when I bethought myself all at once that carpets wanted shaking, and I thought that I'd better see 'em done afore I went, or else they never would be done, so I turned over and I called of Ellen, and I give her a right good talking to about these carpets. And doctor, she said, you know what a contradictious little madam that girl is. I thought she answered me back, as she always does, and it vexed me, so that I wakened up, and I do believe, doctor, that it's done me good. Then the doctor felt at her pulse, and he said he shouldn't wonder if it had done her good, but he thought he'd better alter her physic a bit. She reckons to have no appetite, but it's always, Ellen boil me some eggs, Ellen fry me some ham. I expect doctor here directly, Ellen. I think who's a bit cankered, ain't thou, besom, said the landlord. Cankered? I think who is. You should hear her when she's in a tantrum. Then her ailment hasn't touched her tongue like, continued the landlord. Tongue? No. I believe she'll talk in her coffin. I do for sure. But I must be going. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Ellen, said the landlord. Yon's known about tongue neither, continued the landlord, walking into the kitchen where the landlady and the servants and Ben had all been listening. No, who isn't, replied Ben. Who's who been agate 'em? It's an old maid that lives a bit aboon here, who's lots of brass and who doesn't know what ails her, who's always either for deeing or for being poor or some lumber. If I were a woman, said Ben, rising and walking towards the door, I'd get wed if I rode after it. I couldn't do by myself at all, but I'll go into t'other room and see how young lads are getting on. Well, thou mun mind what thou'rt doing, thou knows, said the landlord. Thou knows what Malc they are. Oh, I'm ready for 'em today, said Ben. Where's Jackass? The Jackass is all right, replied the landlord. I'll look after Jackass if thou'll look after thyself. All right, replied Ben, walking towards the door, just as Enoch was coming in for him again. Ben, said Enoch, art thou for coming, or thou'rt? Say the word, 'cause we can do bout thou knows if thou'rt aboon speaking. How thy din, replied Ben, who was getting as jovial and frolicsome as the rest. How thy din, thou'rt worse than a sheep shouter. I'm coming, dost to say, and I'm ready for aught. Come on then, old bread, replied Enoch. Come on, I'll back thou till thy head flies off. There was a curious company in the tap-room of the Talbots' Head that summer afternoon, and they were, one and all, in different stages of inebriation. Enoch and Twitchell had never been nearer to the mill that day than they were then. The frolic of the night before had set them going, and in their maunderings about during the afternoon, they beguiled 3 slack-minded haymakers from a neighbouring meadow to join their revels. These, however, belonged to a class whose waking hours are mostly passed in drinking, or in looking round the world to see where the next Jill is to come from. With them, sobriety had become a strange element, full of fearfulness. Ginger for flirting, cried Enoch, pushing Ben before him into the tap-room. He's here again, see you lads, such up lower, some on you, come here, Ben, and sit at side of me. Thou's not to be put on with nobody, not while I'm here, as out be. Who wants to put on him? Said Twitchell. If it's onybody, it's thysel, Enoch. Thou tweet his beef, didn't ta? Aye, I did, right enough, but then we han made that up again, haven't we, Ben? Aye, you han, replied Ben. Hast to get him brass, old cretur? Continued Enoch. Aye, the landlord got it made just now. Well then, let's ha' no fratchin. Give me thy hand out, dog. I dunno want to do naught that's wrong, mon. Nor thee neither, dost a Twitch. Do I act 'em as like, but then I'm knowin' again a bit of a spree, if it isn't carried to fur, thou knows. How far dost a like thy jokes carried, like afore thou stops? They're like some a good eat up, judging by Jackass yesterday, Twitch, old lad. By mon, that were a do, cried Twitch. Ben, thou'rt gradely ta'en in that time. But what? Thou bears no malice, dost thou, old lad? Give me thy hand. Thou'rt knowin' as ill-contrived as Enoch there. Does thou call me ill-contrived? Said Enoch, staring at Twitch with good-humoured surprise. He never name it more. It were my own doing as much as anybody else's, said Ben. But what am I to do with yon sheep shed and stuff? It's noone of mine. It's mine, cried Enoch. It's mine. Eat it. Thou'rt welcome to it, old bread. Aye, but our Betty's for sending it back, replied Ben. Who's a fool if who does, said Enoch. Give it, cat. By mon, I'll ha' no one on it. If who sends it here, I was it into t' street, so I've towed thou. Come, lads, burl out, come on ye and let Ben sup. Here, continued he, filling a gill pot and offering it to Ben. Tak out, my lad. Thou'rt a top saw if ever there were one. Come, said Ben, by way of wishing the company good health. Do, replied 3 or 4 of the company in a breath. This was the usual laconic form of health pledging among these country wassailers. As Enoch took the empty pot from Ben, he said, Here, as be like to send it round. Come, popple, old lad, wacken and tag hold. What hast thou? Said the half-stupefied haymaker. Rum and ale. It'll do thou no harm, replied Enoch. Get out. And he gave the drowsy haymaker a slap on the side of the head in a frolicsome way. Now then, what art thou for? I'll set thee one on if thou does that again, said the overdone haymaker, slowly opening his foggy eyes and groping his way to a sight of the offender. "If thou does," replied Enoch, "I'll warm thy ear, O loud mon." "Come, come," said Twitch, rising from his seat in the corner. "If there's anyone foin out in this coat, I'll be among it, and soon too. As for thee, Popple, if thou wants a 2-3 wrang words with anybody, speak to me, and I'll see what I can do for thee. Thou'rt just about the size that I like to play with. I've had a good 2-3 such like chaps as thee underhand in my time. There's summat upon thy stomach that troubles thee. I've some physic in my shoon that'll help thou off wi' it, and soon too." "Now then, Twitch," said Enoch, turning to his old friend, "bite, mon, thou'rt waur than him. Ta'n't a notice of Popple, he's like a chip in porridge. He's neither one thing nor t'other. Dally it, lads, sup, and don't begin a fratching with one another." "I want no one to fratch with nobody," said Popple, straggling to his feet and holding his shaky hand out towards Twitchell. "But thou knows, Twitch, I dunna like to have me head pound. But come, I want no bother give me thy hand, old dog. Thee and me knows one another from being childlike, dunna we?" "Yai, we done," replied Twitchell, taking his hand. "But I don't like thou so well for all that, and I cannot tell what for justly. But I'll tell you one thing, Popple, if thou starts a being rousty, I'm maister ony minute. Now, what have I to do? And if thou doesn't sit thou down, as find my shoon a bit of a job somewhere about latter end of thy breeches. Dost do you not?" "Dunna thee say so much about that," said Popple, hobbling about on his legs and giving his arm a feeble flourish. "Dunna thee say so much about that, or else—" "Or else what?" said Twitchell, struggling to his feet. "Come, come," said Enoch, rushing up to Twitchell. "We ha' noan of your bother about such like work as that, Twitch. Thee sit down and dunna be a fool. I can manage yon t'other well enough, if thou allowed thy din. Popple, get thee into that chair, and if thou wants to say more, sing it, darling, sing it." "I'll sing you a song," said Popple, thumping the table. "I'll sing the song if old Twitch'll sing it after." "By Guy," replied Twitch, "I dar sing after thee as out be." "Come, Popple," said Enoch, offering him another tot of ale and rum, "sup, and then get a gate." Popple emptied the tot, and then, turning his stolid face towards the ceiling, he said, "Here goes," and he began to howl in a drawling nasal tone. "When I were bund apprentice in famous Lincolnshire, for well I served me master for more nor 7 long year, till I took up with poaching, lads, as you shall quickly hear. Oh, it's my delight of a shiny night in the season of the year." "Eat bite mass, Popple," cried Twitch. "Drop it a minute or two, to set my teeth agate a poaching." "No, let him get it o'er," said Enoch. "Here, sup and swill those hayseeds out of thy throttle, and then start again." "I'll sing thee for a stone of red cabbage," replied Popple. "Well, get a gate," answered Enoch, "and give o'er talking." Up went Popple's face again as he recommenced his nasal howl. "As me and me 2 comrades were setting of a snare, we chanced to see a gamekeeper, for him we did not care. For we can rustle and fight, me boys, and jump or anywhere. Oh, it's my delight on a shiny night in the season of the year. And me and my 2 comrades were setting for a 5. Popple stopped and held out his hands. "Here, Enoch," said he. "Let's sup once again, and then I'll do another verse." "I'll let thee sup up twice if thou'll give o'er. It's unteeing me shoon, by mon, drop it, that's a good lad. They'll have us all laid up. I never heard such a din since I were wick. What hast had to thy dinner?" "I'll sing no more," said Popple, rising to his feet again, "and I'm noan bound to be put on by nobody in this coat, as clever as you reckon to be. I can buy out rook on you up. I guess you're thinking I'm 'bout brass, see ya? clashing handful of copper and silver on the table. "There's 5 shillin' there at owes nobbery naught, and I've an uncle that owns 2 mills in Derbyshire, my Uncle Joe. He's own brother to me feyther. He's neither chick nor child. Those 2 mills are mine when he dies. Crack that nut." "The devil's stone thee and thy Uncle Joe too," said Twitch. "If thy Uncle Joe owns any mills in Derbyshire, they coffee mills. Thou deserves jolloping for talking such like foo scutter as that. Thou'rt a cow-slaver and beggar-barm. Sit thou down, the garmless aganoa, or I'll comb thy year for thou." "I'll tap thee another day, Twitch," said Popple, "as happen be leaking on thou up Whitworth Road and afore next Faybury time." "I'm here now," replied Twitch, making a rush at him. But Enoch met him in full career and flinging his arms around him said, "Now then, Twitch, has there no more sense than bothering with such a churn-yard as that? Sit thou down, mon, and let's have some gam." "Let him come if he likes," replied Popple. "I'm ready for him if he comes this gate on." Twitch was going to rush at him again when the landlady came to the door. "Now then, I'll not have such work. We ain't had no fighting here. We ain't had things enough brocken that's never been paid for. Popple, if thou cannot behave thyself, thou'll have to go out. Twitch, I wonder at you and no more sense." "Well, Betty," said Twitchell, "I cannot do to be acted o'er with a sodden fool like that, that's made up of naught but offal and block scrapings, and put together Cowle too. What's he bother me about his brass and his Uncle Joe for? He's naught no better nor porridge, as weary is." "I never named my Uncle Joe," replied Popple, hiccuping in the corner. "Thou art a lying mon," cried Twitchell, jumping up again. "I'll not have it, I tell you," said the landlady, coming forward. "I'll not have it. If you want such like work as that, you mun go outside to it. Our James is out, or else he'd saddle you, and soon too. Popple, go thee home." "I'll be quiet if he will," said Popple, hiccuping drowsily in the corner again. "Well, keep thy tongue between thy teeth then," said Twitch. Come, darl it and sink it, lads, let's be thick while we are together. Twitch, I never thought thou'd been such a riven chap as thou art." "I cannot bide him, Enoch," replied Twitchell. "Well, and who's to bide thee, thinkster?" replied Enoch. Hush, the first man that says another wrong word, I'll run my cap into his mouth, let him alone." "He's falling asleep, say thou." "I dunna like him, I tell thee. Neither asleep nor wakken, and there's an end on it." "Well then, let him alone, and hold thy din, and let somebody else talk. Thou wants it all thyself. Let somebody else talk a bit, by mass. That makes my head go round. There's naught of a head to speak on, Enoch." "Now then," replied Enoch, "art a bound to start on me now? It's time for thee to be going home, Twitch. Thou gets so riven. Sup, and straighten that year of thine. Hullo, pot's empty again. Come, I'll be next quart. Here, Betty," continued he, handing the pitcher to the landlady, "bring another at same breed and chalk it up to me." Nay, said Twitch. "Come here, Betty. We ain't had no ale shots laughed on. I'll pay for it myself first." "Well, pay for it thyself the first, and I'd done with it. Only road for a quiet life, old mon. Hullo," continued he, looking round. "By mass, they're all falling asleep. Come, lads, let's be doing summat. This Mackawart's neither good for king nor country. Speak some on ya. What are we all, jaw-locked? Or are ye all behind in your rent or summat? It's like fuddling in a bloodhouse. There must have been a funeral in Cowle. Come, Ben, open that mouth of thine. I'll stun on my head if some on you doesn't do summat or another. If I dunna, I'll go to crows. I've a good mind to sing a song. Mun I, Twitch?" I don't care what thou does, if thou give over wuzzing up and down floor, that turns me mazy, that warna a scupperel. I'll sing, begob, said Enoch, how Fogey lived in Turnerford at side of Wilson School, and everybody knowed him there because he's such a fool. Come, whackin' chaps, Ben, thee give us a song. Aye, give us a bit of a touch, Ben, said Twitchell, brightening up. There's some music in now, I know. Well, I'm not again it, said Ben, if you and Cowle silence. Silence? How much silence does one? It's as still as a graveyard. They're all asleep now but me and Twitch. And me and Wackenham, replied Ben. Why then, said Enoch, filling the glass, take out again afore thou starts. Come, chaps, Wackham, Ben's bound to sing. Hey, Popple, come, splutter out, lad, dost ye hear, Wackham? You're a bright-looking lot, big guy. Come, Ben's bound to sing us a song, get a gape, Ben. That'll wacken 'em up best of all. Here goes then, said Ben. 'Twas on the morn of sweet May Day, when nature painted all things gay, taught birds to sing and lambs to play, and gild the meadow fair. Young Jockey early in the dawn arose and tripped it o'er the lawn. His Sunday clothes the youth had on, for Jenny had vowed away to run with Jockey to the fair. The cheerful parish bells had rung, with eager steps he trudged along, while flowery garlands round him hung, which shepherds used to wear. He tapped the window, haste, my dear. Jenny impatient cried, who's there? 'Tis I, my love, and no one near. Step gently down, you've naught to fear, with Jockey to the fair. My dad and mamma fast asleep, my brother's up and with the sheep, and will you still your promise keep, which I have heard you swear? And will you ever constant prove, I will by all the powers above, and never deceive my charming dove, dispel these doubts and ace my love, with Jockey to the fair. Go on out, Laycrock, that doing wheel, cried Enoch. Behold the ring, the shepherd cried, will Jenny be my charming bride? Let Cupid be our happy guide, and Diamond meet us there. Then Jockey did his vows renew, he would be constant, would be true. His word was pledged, away she flew, o'er cowslips tipped with balmy dew, with Jockey to the fair. In raptures meet the jovial throng, their gay companions blithe and young. Each joined the dance, each raised the song, to hail the happy pair. In turns there's none so loud as they bless the kind propitious day, the smiling morn of blooming May, when lovely Jenny ran away, with Jockey to the fair. Well done, Ben, our lad, cried the now awakened wassailers, and their loud applause was echoed in the kitchen, where the landlady and the servants were listening attentively. Enoch bustled about, handing the drink first to Ben and then to the rest, as far as it would go, and when the pitcher was empty he knocked upon the table with it and called for the landlord. Jem, bring another in. You're getting on, lads, said the landlord, taking up the pitcher and looking round. Ben, continued he, seeing that the poor besom maker was beginning to look very pale and mazy, isn't it time for thee to be going home? Nay, I think I'll stop a bit longer with these lads, replied Ben, with a hiccup. I may as well be in for a sheep as a lamb. Make it a sheep, our lad, cried Enoch, filling Ben another tot of the ale and rum, which had just come in. Well, but I'll tell thou what, Ben, continued the landlord, Joe's bound within half a mile of your house, and he's tapped Jackass home for thou, if thou likes. I'm willing, replied Ben. I dare trust Jackass with Joe. Let him take it home. So be it then, said the landlord, walking out. Now then, Twitch, cried Enoch, art thou for singing, or thou art, say word? Sing I, answered Twitchell. Well, get a gate with thou then, and give up pooing such a foul face at folk. Well, nowt for it, said Twitchell, clearing his throat. 'Twas in the prime of summer time, when pleasant was the weather. At Stakehold Fold, as I've been told, the women met together. Old Betty Jakes the chair bespeaks, and then came Sally Turner, and Colin's wife with fun was right, and Mal sat up in corner. The wife o' Dill would have her will, and plumped her down in middle, while Betty Joes nipped up her toes, and foretold Joe with fiddle. When John began, up stepped Nan, and danced a heavy rattler, and without care upset a chair, and down who knocked out paddler. Then came Mal Wild, and brought a child, and put it in cather, whilst John at Dick's good wife had 6, but laughed 'em with their feyther. Of Mary Joes there was no loss, nor yet a youthful Nelly, and Sal were fain to come down lane, and dance with neighbour Dolly. And they had ale that told a tale, 'twere cool and Wickham foaming. It did 'em good, it warmed their blood, and set their thoughts a-roaming. And there were eyes that looked as bright as any star in welkin, and bosoms like the marble white, and bosoms soft wi' milking. Till echo rang, so sweet they sang, within that joyous dwelling, the chamber floor and buttery door, the music's soft repelling, whilst up the stairs flew angel airs, against the rafters ringing, the looms below danced tip-a-toe, the lays began a-swinging. There, said Twitchell, as the applause rang in the room, that's one of Sam Bamford's songs. Aye, I know it is, replied Enoch, and by thectum, old lad, if thou sing another, I'll do Tim Bobbin's grave. Well, I will, Enoch, said Twitch. Here goes then. I stood beside Tim Bobbin's grave at Luxor, Rochdale town, and th' old lad woke within his youth, and said, where art ta bound? I'm going into Packer Street, as fur as Golden Bell, to taste a Daniel's Christmas ale. Tim, I could like a sup mysel', and buy this on to my retail, me fro that old ale root. Thou'st have a sup at best brown ale, at ever lips did soak. The ground it stirred beneath me feet, and then I heerd a groan. He shoot the dust fro off his skull, and rolled away the stone. I brought him up a deep brown jug, at a gallon did contain, and he took it at one blessed draught, and laid him down again. Bravo, old moonraker, cried Twitchell, jumping up. I've been at Tim Bobbin's grave mony a time in Rochdale churchyard. Rochdale, thou art a bonny, thou art a gradely town to me. I never let a bonny to be compared with thee. Now then, said Twitch, sitting down, what dost think of that, Enoch? Has thou made that thyself, Twitch? Said Enoch, staring at Twitchell. Aye, by mass have I, replied Twitchell. What, out of thy own yed? Aye, replied Twitchell, out of my yed. Just to think it come out at calf of my leg or somewhere. Well, by mon, said Enoch, gazing at him an instant. Give me thy hand, old Brid, thou's capped me this time round. I didn't know that thou'd so much in thou. Didn't, replied Twitchell. Thou knows naught, Enoch, where a gradely chap comes. Well, out thy bother and let me get a gate of my song, said Enoch. What mun I sing, Twitch? Sing out, Enoch, replied Twitch. Is a namesake of thine. I will, said Enoch. Out Enoch had danced, laid his pipe down on thob, and his thin fingers played in white thatch of his knob. I'm getting done up to there, Betty, he said. Dost thou think thou could doff me and dad me to bed? Then who get him to bed, and who wrapped him up well, and who said to him, Enoch, lad, how dost a fail? These limbs of mine, Betty, they're cranky and sore. It's time to shut up when one's getting fourscore. As who pottered about his poor wintry paint, thou fella looked drowsily up at his mate. There's nought on me left, lass, do all that thou con, but the cratchily frame o' what once were a mon. Then he turned hisself o'er like a child tired with play, and Betty crept round while he were dozing away. As his eyelids sink down, th' old lad muttered, "Well done, I think there's a bitter sound sleep coming on." Then who thought who'd sit by till he'd had his nap, or if who'd sit there till then who'd ha' risen no more, for he dozed out at world, and his een lost their leet, like a cinder in fire grate at deed time o' neat. As Betty sit rocking by th' side of his bed, who looks now and then at Enoch's white yed, and who thought to herself that who'd not long to stay, if ever the prop of her life should give way. Then wondering to see him so sound and so still, who touched Enoch's hand and who found it would chill. Says Betty, he's cowed, I'll put summat more on, but it were no use, for owd Enoch were gone. "Hasna done yet?" said Twitchell, rising to his feet. "No, not quite," replied Enoch. "There's another verse or two yet." "What, at St. Matt?" "Aye, all at St. Matt. What the hangman does to want? Thou asked me to sing it, didn't thou?" "Well, get thou through wi' it as fast as thou gone. It's macking me ill all in my inside," answered Twitchell. "Aye, get done wi' it," said Popple. "My yed aches." "Thy yed aches, does it?" said Enoch, looking indignant at the sudden peace of humanity in the corner. "It's no on because thou'rt overstocked wi' brains, owd lads. But I'll finish this song in spite o' your teeth, so hold your din." And when they put Enoch to bed down in ground, a rook o' poor neighbours stood bare-yedded round. They dropped sprigs of rosemary, and this were the text: "Thou craters laid by, we may haply bit next." So Betty were left to tear on by herself, and how who pooed through it no mortal can tell. But the doctor crept in to look at her one day, when who were rocking both side of a cup of tea. "Well, Betty," said Doctor, "how done you get on? I'm sorry to hear that you han lost your old mon." "What complaint had he, Betty?" says who, "I can't tell. We ne'er had no doctor, he deed of hisself." "Ah, Betty," said Doctor, "there's one thing quite sure, old age is a thing that no physic can cure. Fate will have her way, lass, do all that we can. When the time's up, we's had to sign o'er and be gone. Both winter and summer, th'old mowers at work, siding folk out to sea, both be daylight and dark. He's slaving away while we're snoring in bed, and he'd slash at a king if it come in his yed. There's soldiers and parsons and meisters o' land, he lays a mint ground with their mouths full o' sond. Rags o' riches and how greasy cap or a crown, he serves all alike, for he switches 'em down. The mon that's learnt up and the mon that's a foo, it makes little odds, for they both had to go. When they're comin' within the swing of his scythe, they mun fall. If you an root amongst swathe, you mun find doctors and all. "There," said Enoch, filling a top for himself, "I'm fain at that's done." "Aye, so am I too," said Twitchell. "Hullo," continued he, looking at the doorway. "What's coming now?" It was a wandering fiddler, poorly clad and dusty with travel. He was on his way to a fair in the northern part of the county. "Gentlemen," said he, "would you like a little harmony?" "Aye, by Maskin's own mon, just think, let's have a dance, strike up, old Tweedler." The appearance of the fiddler revived the sinking spirits of the company, and he struck up "The Flowers of Edinburgh." But before they'd danced many minutes, poor Ben became so done up that he crept gently out at the front door and round the house to the stable, where he laid himself down and fell sound asleep. His companions missed him soon after, but as hour after hour went by and he did not return, they felt sure that he'd gone home. The fun grew fast and furious as night came on, and fresh arrivals swelled the company in the tap room. It was deep twilight when a hearse, on its way from Rochdale to Bacup, stopped in front, and the driver, in company with another man who'd ridden with him on the box, entered the tap room and sat down to drink with the rest, their funeral suits contrasting strangely with the appearance of the merry group around them. A few minutes before the arrival of the hearse, Enoch, whilst wandering about the backyard, had discovered Ben lying sound asleep among the straw in the stable, and he had tried to rouse him, but the poor fellow was so stupefied with the sickly swill which he'd imbibed that Enoch had left him there to sleep. When Enoch entered the house and informed the landlord where Ben was lying, the landlord begged of him not to mention the thing to the company in the tap room, but to let the poor fellow rest a while where he was. And for a wonder, Enoch had joined his companions and held his tongue about the matter. The appearance of the hearse at the door, however, woke up in his frolicsome mind a new scheme which led to curious results. But perhaps this will be better told in another chapter.